What's going on, guys? It's Rome from Combat Sports Today, and I'm having the pleasure of speaking with, I guess, a viral sensation within the internet wrestling community.
Oh
He
boy,
stands at 6 feet, 12 inches tall, weighing in at 15% of a metric ton.
that right.
We got Big Trouble Ben Bishop.
Yeah, you got that right. You got the intro. You got part of the intro down, about 25% of it. But you
Okay.
you got the most important part. Let everyone know how tall I am, how much I weigh, and yeah, viral sensation for better or for worse. I'll say.
Hey, man,
But hey,
listen.
I always say, well, it's not doing anything illegal or unethical. I think all publicity is good publicity.
Exactly. So look, I guess tell us a little bit about yourself with the folks who don't know you, and then we'll get right into it.
Yeah, folks. I mean, it's what you see is what you get. And I was a Big Trouble Ben Bishop, independent wrestler, former basketball player, former Australian rules football player. Decided to enter this absolutely insane, batshit crazy world of professional wrestling about 6 years ago, and starting to kind of hit a stride here. And gaining a lot of fans, gaining a lot of enemies at the same time. But as the old adage says, if you're not getting hate, you're not doing anything right. So, and I'm here now. And you'll tell by this interview, folks. You'll see my personality. If you're not familiar with me, I just like to have a fun time. I like to have fun. I'm the most unserious professional wrestler that you'll ever meet. We got to understand what we're doing here. We're all here to have fun. We all started doing this because we're fans of it, right? And so if we sit all day and wallow in our own self-pity when things don't go right, we're going to have a miserable life. So I like to have a good time. And some of you really like it. And there's a small vocal minority of you that don't. And you know what? That's okay. You're entitled to what you want to like.
I'm a fan. I am a
fan.
fan.
And I appreciate it, man.
I think wrestling in itself, it's tough to have a personality, especially in, this day and age that some folks don't really capitalize on the things that you do so well. Social media, it's one big thing that I think that you do really well. And that's how I found out about you. Most people exactly. From that one viral video in the beginning that you did, wrestling on Rampage, AEW Rampage with the thumbs up.
Oh yeah, the goofy ass pose. Yeah.
So tell me about what went into that. I know that in some other matches you've done that, but I obviously.
Well, not really. I've never done that pose. That was the first time I've ever done it.
I saw a video.
I've done this. I've done this, but I never did it like that. And I never turned to the hard cam that way either. So yeah, literally 5 minutes before I went out, I'm like, I got to do something, because I told myself, the only time I know that camera's going to be on me is when they announce my name. That's the only guarantee that I have in that match. And that's what every enhancement talent, that's what we're told. That's the only time it's going to be on you and no one else. So I did it before, right? I've had 2 AEW matches. So I knew, I had an idea, that camera, that red light will be on me at that exact time when I forgot who the announcer was this time around, but when that announcer says my name, it's my time to shine. And it's the only time I know that I'll definitely get. So I was like, you know what? I mean, shit, Goofy plays well, right? It does. If I came out and tried to do the throat slit or Hulk up or something, nothing against anybody, but everyone does that. So I'm like, I can't do that. And that's not me. I'm not the throat slit guy. I'm not the put the fist to my face guy. I'm not that's not my gimmick. So let's just have a silly goose time here and just throw that up and see what happens. And when I got to the back, I'm good buddies with Jack Jameson of the Frat House, his new faction. I think that those guys are great. And he said, dude, he's like, I don't know where you came up with that or why you did that, but it worked so well. The camera was on you the whole time. It looked great. You were dead center, the smile, the timing, everything was, and I didn't know. I was just I just did it. And I'm I wonder, hopefully it plays. And then after that, I knew what it was, right? I know what I was as an enhancement talent. I wasn't, it wasn't my time to get over by any means, but you got to make the most of your minutes there. And I had the idea of let's make a funny Creed My Sacrifice video based on this, it's because I've seen so many highlight videos of using My Sacrifice, and I'm like, all right, let's do a play on this. And then And then, yeah, I had the idea of like, let's watch it with my wife too. And let's make a funny video based on that. So it was, it's just all stuff that kind of just came together on a whim. Like there was no like weeks before where I'm like, this is how I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I just that's kind of how I do all my videos. Like I literally will wake up at 2 a.m. and I'll have an idea and I'll write it down on my phone and I'll do it. And then I'll film it in the morning. Like things come to me. If things are happening on the internet, like I'll be like, okay, let me do a play off this. Like I did the Raw premiere. I've done the one that got me a lot of heat, the 5-star discussion.
So, we'll get into all of that.
Yeah, we sure will. But so I just kind of take things that are trending, and that's kind of me playing the game a little bit because that's how the algorithm works, right? Keywords, all that BS. I don't like playing the algorithm game, but you got to play to it. You got to feed it a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of it. Like I wish I had like this grand story. The only thing I had a plan of is that I knew that when I found out I was on Rampage that day and it wasn't Collision or anything like that, because they were taping Ring of Honor, Collision, and Rampage. So when I found out I was doing Rampage, I was like, well, I got a week. I got a week to kind of play this up and make it into something. So it was better than being on Collision.
Yeah, no, for sure. Right. I mean, we'll get into all of that, in a bit. I think the one thing that we shouldn't ignore is you didn't just wrestle anyone. You didn't wrestle another enhancement talent or someone that folks don't know. You wrestled someone that within the community, he's well respected. And a lot of, he has a lot of core fans. Roderick Strong, that's nothing to ignore. So tell me, what was that experience like? What did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I don't want to kill any kayfabe here. Well, that's all right. It's pretty much dead. But I want to say that he's a great guy. Roderick Strong is a tremendous human being. I hear a lot of horror stories when guys are enhancement talents of, either certain individuals like kind of brushing them off or just saying like, I don't care about this. I don't even want to do this or, and so, and that's in all companies and throughout the years. I'm not just saying that happens in AEW, that happens everywhere. So, Roderick was amazing. He was great. Really. I've really been very fortunate to work with 3 great guys in AEW: Bear, Bronson, Preston Vance, and Roderick Strong. So I really am very fortunate for that. But yeah, Roddy, when I found out, he was nothing but smiles. He was excited to have the match. And we went and had it, and he was nothing but professional afterward. And I mean, I knew what it was. He knew what it was. He came to me, said, "Hey, thanks. I get how that can be." He's like, "Hey, man, it is what I gotta do." And fortunately, also Taven, Bennett were somewhat involved as well. They were out there. I've always been a big fan of Matt Taven ever since his earlier Ring of Honor days. When I did find out about him, probably like in 2013. When I kind of started watching more independent stuff. So Matt Taven's I've always been a huge fan of his. Mike Bennett's a great human being as well. So I was really happy that that's the match I got. And he's a consummate professional, right? So having matches with guys like that, it's easy. Like it's, people will think like, oh man, you're going up against this guy who's so good. He's been wrestling for 20 plus years. And I'm like, it's easier. It's honestly easier. Like it makes this shit eat. Like I just have to listen to him and it'll all go according to plans. So
because you get the rub off those kind of guys,
Exactly. That too. And it's just you're working with a better person. It's not like a sport like a basketball when you're going up against a better team. It's like, it's gonna be a tough night. When you're going up against a better wrestler, you're gonna have it's gonna be better because you don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about what he's doing. Like, I don't have to worry about like, oh man, I got to carry this guy. It's like he might have to carry me a little bit. So all I got to do is listen to him.
Hey, and that that's perfectly fine. Just because everything is a learning experience. Now let me ask you, the follow up after that. Were there any conversations within AEW of signing on?
No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't. So, really, I think AEW has their thing, right? And I don't think it's a place where there's a lot of bigger guys, right now. And I think the guys that are there do a great job. Big Bill, I think, is awesome. Obviously Powerhouse Hobbs is great. So they got a lot of good, and I think Satnam Singh is coming along really well too. So they have some big guys, and I get it. The whole sense of if you have like 27 footers, you don't have one. Do I think I could be an asset? Of course. I 100% am confident that I could really help out the product. But hey, you know what? I used to have hard feelings. I used to get really pissed about this type of stuff, Rome. But now I'm just like, why bother with it? You know, like if what's going to happen is going to happen. If they want me, great. If they don't, I'm not mad at them. Yeah. It's just like you gotta kind of control what you can control. I know that sometimes can sound corny to say, but it is true. It is true. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to go through life holding grudges or be pissed. You know, it's just like, there's no time for that. It's like, and it's bullshit energy at that point. Like, you don't want to spend your energy being negative and just saying like, why won't they sign me? Well, they suck because they won't sign me. No, they don't suck because they won't sign me. They just don't want me right now. And that's not nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with me. It's just like, I just got to do what I got to do.
Yeah. And I think that, that one moment that you had just with the thumbs up, that created more of a following, just because I'll be honest, that's how I found out about you. Yeah. And not to this is a big thing. You have wrestled some other names. You are wrestling Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler, March 21st, and you've wrestled AJ Francis. So it's not like those things haven't gone unnoticed. So I think that's you made something out of nothing, and here you are.
And that's what's funny to me is that, like, I was wrestling before I started doing these videos in like I would say like July, August of 2023. Right. So over 1.5 years now. And before that, I was just so like fed up with wrestling. I honestly said to myself, like, I don't even want to know if I want to do this. Like, because I just didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what like the next steps were at that point.
Yeah.
And so a few people were pretty influential. Nikki the Good from used to be a Barstool employee. We started doing a podcast, not to like really grow it huge. It wasn't our main goal, but to really find our voice and do something and kind of, continue to like just try to make content, right? Try to do something. And that really helped a lot. And Sam Adonis, also a independent wrestler, works a lot in AAA. Great guy. We've become very friendly. I've worked his show this past February, last month. And he just told me, he's like, hey man, like you have something. He's like, you just got to figure it out. Like he's like, you're different than a lot of people. And so that's what got me going. That's what got me going with these videos. And it was cathartic to me because it just kind of gave me like I just felt like, it was therapeutic to say, because like I was just like I used to joke around this with a lot of friends in wrestling, make jokes about this type of stuff. So I'm like, why don't I just make some videos? I've always liked performing. I'm comfortable in front of a camera, so why not make it a thing, right? And so many people now, since now fast forward to today, where I'm getting more bookings and more interest than ever. Like I wasn't even being like Drew at Beyond didn't ever like reach out. This is just an example, like beyond being a bigger indie, right? Like I've reached out to him before, and when like I wasn't like in 2021, 2022, nothing. Right now, all of a sudden, I start making these videos, things start going viral a little bit more. People start paying attention. Now I'm booked. Now I was booked on 3 shows at the end of last year.
Yeah, you've been hella busy.
Because and that's what makes me laugh, because I have a lot of wrestlers. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to bury anybody, but there's a lot of wrestlers who've said to me things like, are you a wrestler or a content creator? The IWC says it too, but there's wrestlers that say it to me and they're like, I don't like what you do. And I'm like, why? What am I doing? And it's just like, well, you're exposing the business. I'm like, okay. Relax, buddy, about exposing the business. Okay. Like there's because there's not a million podcasts out there. There's not a show right now on A&E about guys training. Like, come on.
Right. And there's a lot of former wrestlers too that
Yeah, like I mean, and so it is what it is, right? So I'm just like, well, tell me how I'm exposing it. It's like, well, you're making fun of the boys. I mean, no, I'm not. If you pay attention to all of my videos, all I'm doing is making fun of the shitty people in wrestling. The people that are assholes, the people that are carnies, that's what I'm making fun of. And really, majority of the time, I'm making fun of myself.
I was just about to talk about
I'm self-deprecating. So I'm like, and we'll talk about the video that kind of went viral recently, but like everyone automatically thinks that's all I do. It's like, no, someone said to me, like, all you do is you sound bitter and all you do is make fun of the fans. I'm like, do I though? Have you watched anything?
Right.
Like, no. So it's just funny. It's funny how fickle it is. I think right now, social media and content creation go hand in hand with the in-ring. You gotta try to build your brand. And I'll be the first to say, I know that's what WWE is looking for. They're 100%. I've done seminars, I've talked to people, and they 100%, that is something that they look for. They look for people building their brand. And that's what they want. You're not just going to get over because you can do a cool spot in a match or a cool sequence in a match. But a lot of guys, because they're not cut, they don't know it. They're confused in a sense where they're like, how are you, you're figuring this out, and people either like it or they're mad at me because I figured something out. And so now it's like, it spouts out of jealousy, which they mask in saying that they don't like it. It's not that they don't like it. It's that they don't get it. And they're like, shit, you figured this out.
Right. And I think, so even like you said, the WWE one being a major promotion, they do look for that stuff. Because if you look now at some of the wrestlers, they're making the content on their own, backstage with with other wrestlers, and they're now promoting that stuff. Before, within the old regime, they didn't care about that stuff. They didn't want wrestlers to be who they are outside of the program. So one thing that I do admire about you is the fact that you know how to market yourself. You are comfortable being in front of a camera, because in wrestling, it's all about selling yourself, whether it's a promo, whether it's in-ring ability. Yeah, I mean, you can do 6 Canadian destroyers in a match, but can you talk yourself up? Can you have personality? And I think that that's one thing that you do really well. Especially as a big man, right? Like a big man, in wrestling, they take themselves serious all the time because they're big men, and you're not afraid to break away from that and have fun. And the marketing, honestly, for me, is what drew me towards you, because like I said, you can have this crazy in-ring ability, but if you can't sell yourself, you're not going to be able to bring in those eyes and attention.
No, you hit the nail on the head. And to talk about being a big guy, right? And like everybody's used to, the Canes and the Takers, right? Like you're the big, brooding, mad, pissed off, big guy. Like, and they did it the best, right?
Yeah.
And they did it the best. And I knew when I started wrestling that was never going to be me. And that was almost like I never wanted to do a choke slam, and now I do a variation of one for my finish. But and I didn't want to be just like, oh, big man choke slam, like the 1, 2, 3, big boot. That's it. I do all these things, but I wanted to add my own flair to it, right? Yeah. And I didn't want to be brooding. People are like, oh, why don't you make your character into some sort of Viking, or you be some sort of? I'm like, well, that's just not me. Like I'm like, I get it. I can have the look, but it's not me. Like I just don't want to be that. And I always, people like just like, oh, you don't take yourself serious. I'm like, well, look what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, look what we're doing. Yeah. Like, I'm like, this isn't serious. Like it's fun. It's supposed to be fun. And I want to have fun. And anybody that can do that gimmick, I tried to do it. I'll be honest. I tried. I did it at Juggalo Championship Wrestling, and I tagged with Jack Talos from the NWA, and he's taller than me. So we're 2 big guys. It looks great. We look great together, right? But I just couldn't. We were called the Redwood Giants, and he was Painful Paul, and I was Hurtful Kurt. So those were our gimmicks at JCW. And we were supposed to be these big brooding like giants from the Redwood Forest or something. Violent J loves this shit, right? So he loves it. He likes like Sasquatches, Yetis, that type of shit. So we were supposed to be that. And every time I would go out, they'd be like, don't smile, don't smile, don't smile. But I couldn't help it. And so like Jack could do it. I couldn't do it. They kept getting mad. Like, why are you smiling? I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I can't figure this character out on what you want me to do. And it just wasn't me. And I'm like, I can't do something like that if it's not me. And I want to have a good time. I want to have fun. And I enjoy coming through the curtain. I enjoy chanting Ben. It's a stupid chant, but it works, right? Like I enjoy, and people will say it. That's what I want. I don't want to be just this like big, the same, cut and paste guy that everybody is.
Yeah. And I think the name Big Trouble can be perceived in many ways, right? Like you can be a beast in the ring, or outside of that, you can cause commotion in the internet wrestling community.
Yeah, sure do.
So, it's you can do a lot with that. And to be honest, for me, when I look at wrestlers, growing up watching WWE and all the other promotions, the ones that stand out the most, like a John Cena or a Stone Cold, to name a couple, we'll get into that as well. Um, they were their authentic selves all of the time. You see The Rock, you see his personality. He knows how to turn it on. It's always on, but he knows how to amplify it when he needs to. John Cena's been John Cena through and through. And that's who you are, and you can't change that. You don't want to sell yourself out because you want to fit the mold of this societal standards for the wrestling community. So that's that. And I respect you for that. I'm sure a lot of people do. For me, the way I see it with your personality is what you see is what you get. Whether you like it or not, you're going to be you. And I think that you've been really successful with that. You've made some videos that people love, and then you made some videos that not many like. And that's one thing that I want to get into. Me personally, as a fan and a lot older, I think that 5-star ratings, or even cage match for that matter, has ruined the way that we've watched wrestling. Because I like wrestling for the entertainment. Obviously the in-ring work ability, it does entice me, but also the entertainment. So and it's funny because all of those things that day when you made that video, mostly, that was a big thing that week. And Asuka, from WWE, she even said something. So it's kind of like she didn't co-sign you directly, but she did have a co-sign, indirectly.
Yeah.
Right. So run that by me. What was the reason that you made that video? Because I loved it. I loved it. Like, me trying to pay my bills.
So really, I've never liked Dave Meltzer's rating system. I think, and here's my quick opinion on Dave. I think Dave is a genius when it comes to wrestling history. I think he has his place. I think I respect the hell out of him for what he's done and built a following. That's not easy to do, and he's done it throughout the years for I don't even know how many years now, 35 some odd years, for how long as Dave has done it. Dave has a place in wrestling, and I know people will say like he doesn't. I think his rating system's bullshit. I'll be the first to say it. It's one person. It somehow has way too much influence on professional wrestling. And when I made the video, what I was trying to explain to, and of course, everyone takes it out of context, and that's okay. I can't assume context. And that's when you make these type of videos, you got to understand people lose the context. You got what I was trying to say, but not many people do. And I'm not blaming them for it. So what the point of it is that guys like Ospreay, guys like Kenny Omega, they don't need validation from a random guy sitting in his attic writing these ratings who's never been in a wrestling ring before.
Right.
Like, people are like, oh, what about the Academy Awards? I'm like, the Academy Awards are a group of people. It's a panel. It's a ton of people who have studied this year in and year out for multitude of years. Dave Meltzer's one person.
Right.
And he likes what he likes. So people have gotten to a mindset of like a wrestler's not good because they don't have 5-star matches.
Right. Exactly.
Like, because of one guy. People are getting, and I don't care what anybody thinks of Bully Ray. He's his own person. Talk about like authentic self. If he's playing a character, if he's not, who knows? It doesn't matter. He's always been kind to me when I met him. But if you don't like him, that's fine. I don't care if you like him or not. But people, oh yeah, this is a typical guy who's never had a 5-star match. Who gives a shit? The guy's made millions of dollars. Who gives a shit if he's had think he gives a shit if Dave Meltzer thinks he's good or not?
Right.
Like, come on. And so that was the point of the video. I'm just like, these guys like Omega, Ospreay, they don't need validation from a guy giving 5 stars. So that's why I said 5-star matches aren't 5-star ratings, I should say. That's what I said. I said ratings. I never said match. I said 5-star ratings are what aren't going to pay the bills.
Yeah.
All right. And so everyone, now all of a sudden I hate Ospreay and Omega. Right? Like, so now it's like, yeah, I hate Ospreay, Omega, Okada, another I can't think of, but there's probably another one. And I just
Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, sure, him too. He follows me, which I bet you all the IWC would hate. And that's why I shit on them, because I'm like, all your heroes follow me, by the way. So I'm just like, I don't get it. And that was I got to stop going back and forth with these idiots. Like, especially these people with no profile picture living in their, island of their bubble of irrelevancy. And they have nothing else going on. They're miserable. They lead miserable lives. They don't have anything going for them. They have nothing besides an internet connection. They shouldn't have that either. So these people, and they just want to bring people down with them. They want to, and you know what makes me even mad? Like, forget those people, right? They're going to be there. That's the internet for you. Those are the trolls. Some of the boys, like there was one guy who I'm not going to name his name. I don't want to give him any credit, but there's one guy who's very vocal and panders always to and we could talk offline, but panders to the IWC way too much. It's like he just lives for these likes and these retweets, and he's doing it today too. And he does it every single day because I don't know what's going on with his life, but the guy's miserable because that's all he wants. And so
I know exactly who you're talking.
I'm sure you know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking
about. Again, I'm not giving him any credit. No, but because I don't like him. But that's what pisses me off. And it's like you're trying to rile people up against somebody that's in wrestling, and you're just trying now because once he did it. Granted, he's got a big following of like IWC trolls, and because he panders to them, and so once he did, that's when it took off, and that's when because he took it and twisted what I was trying to say into his own narrative, and then boom, then all of a sudden the floodgates opened, which is fine. Again, I have so many people that have reached out to me being like, "Keep going." Like, don't you should promoters. And that's why I made the Stuart Smiley video the next day. Yeah. When I was just like, oh, I'm so sorry. I got you so mad over an opinion.
That was hilarious.
Oh, I'm so hilarious. And then I had more guys coming like, oh, you're trying to fucking play dumb now? You're trying to play dumb now? I'm like, yeah, sure I am. Like, yes, I am. You're an idiot.
Yeah, and then I remember you made another one that you said, talking to my friends who don't watch wrestling or stuff like that.
So I'm making fun of myself.
Exactly. And I was going to ask you about that, but I feel you answered that for me. Just being able to make fun of yourself, and even like bringing in your wife to be a part of that collaboration. I'll be honest, you're doing things well, right? You're not a bad in-ring performer. You're good there. You're good at marketing yourself. You have the look. I mean, you're 7 feet tall, to be technical, you're 7 feet tall. It's not like there's nothing about you that's like, that's forgettable. All of the things that you do, right, is the reason why, good or bad, people gravitate towards you. And you shouldn't.
But also, it's why people don't like me, because they're like, they look at me and they're like, all right, he's tall. All right, I'll say it, he's aesthetically pleasing. Like he's got a personality. Oh shit, he's actually pretty good in the ring. He's not bad. Oh fuck, all these guys are following him too. What's wrong with him?
Right.
And like we got to figure something out. Like you got to figure. And so, dude, it's like, to your point about, being like self-deprecating. It's like that. I know what I am. I know what the indies are. I like to have fun with it. And I'm not downplaying the indies. I'm making fun of the shindies, if people realize that. So I'm talking about all like the like I said, the carnies, the people that that just like are in this business for the wrong reasons, the people that are just like either taking themselves way too serious to the point of like it's not fun being around them. Right. Like that's the stuff. That's the stuff I like to have fun with.
Yeah.
But these trolls, the people that don't get it, and I said that is like they're confused by it. That's what causes the hate, is because they don't get it. And all you need to hear is one person say, what happens is I'm compared to Jack Vaughn. So me and Jack are, because we do similar things, and I love Jack. Jack's a great guy. We've collaborated on a bunch of videos. Jack has his own kind of gimmick where he makes these videos, and so do I. So we do kind of different things, but I do get roped into it, and he does poke fun at certain things. But what people don't understand with Jack is that Jack is the veteran gimmick making fun of those things. Right. So he's a gimmick being that type of guy who makes fun of the indie wrestling. But people get worked into the shoot. They think he's being. Jack's a gimmick.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm killing your gimmick, Jack, but like he's a gimmick. Jack's a gimmick, and but you know what? He's riled. His numbers speak for themselves. The guy gets 300,000 views on Facebook. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm just trying to keep up with them. But yeah, that's the thing is that like people don't like what they don't understand. And like if they just took a second, if you followed me, if you see really what I do or what I talk about, you'd be like, oh, I get it. Yeah. But hey, that's never gonna happen. I understand it.
And that, in a oh my god, in an industry that is so critical, one thing that you do stand out, that makes you stand out, is the fact that you are humble and you do connect with fans. You do connect. I mean, I know that maybe going back and forth with the trolls aren't the best, but you're not afraid to connect with any of them that are online, and whether they like you or not, you're going to be who you are. And it's just like, let's say if you're doing it to be a heel, right? The purpose of being a heel is for people not to like you, right? There's folks who love heels and there's folks who don't like heels. So, and their job is to get over in a way that no one really wants, like no one likes them. So,
that's what's being now in this day and age, is like, that's what takes away from like really good heels, is like heels now want to get over by being the cool guy. And like, I want people to like me as a heel. Like, I want you to be cheering me, but like, oh, boo, we don't like you, but we know we like you. Like, oh, you're fun. Do more fun. Like, oh, we like you. And it's like, you can't say anything because these people get rattled. It's the softest group of people in the world. And I do want to clarify that when I say IWC, it's not the full IWC. So like, you could consider yourself part of the IWC, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
You comment and stuff. It's the small vocal minority. It's those individuals. It's the individuals that don't go to shows. They don't buy merch. They never have anything positive to say. They don't show their face on camera or profile pictures or any of that. I got into it with one guy after that video was made. I was like, all right, this is the one person I'm going to go after, because he said something about me. I'm not a successful person because I've never had a 5-star match. So I'm like, oh, I'm not. So I'm like, let me go through my whole life and show you how I am a successful person. You know, and that just because you think I'm not successful because I haven't reached the pinnacle of wrestling yet, doesn't mean I'm not worthy of being a human being. And so I went back and forth with this guy, and I was like, how about you come to a show? Come to a show and see how people react to me. Like, not on the internet, not with all you faceless trolls that don't buy tickets. Don't go ahead. Come. Here's all my dates. I'm all around the country. Come to a show. I'm sure at least one of them is close to you. I knew what he was going to say, and he said it. The guy said, oh, I don't go to shows. I'm like, there it is. I knew it. And I wanted him to say it himself. Oh, I would like to, but I don't go to shows.
Yeah,
exactly. You don't buy tickets. You don't matter. Your online persona doesn't matter, because as you saw, and Asuka said it, and it was co-signed by a few other wrestlers, everyone laughs at these trolls. You think these people like you. They don't. The wrestlers don't like if you're riding high for for AEW and you're bashing WWE, don't think the AEW wrestlers like you. Like, if you're being negative to another wrestler, like, don't think that like the boys in the back are like, hell yeah, dude. We got like Omega Ospreay XXS753685 is saying that WWE sucks. And it's like, they don't think that Kenny and Will are sitting there like, hell yeah, we got this guy on our side with 16 followers. Like, they don't care. They don't care. And so, but these people think they do. And like, dude, like, they're not riding for you. Have your opinions. It's like, hey, I'm not a fan. I'll be the first to say it. I've said it. I'm not the biggest fan of Lucha Libre wrestling. Doesn't mean I don't respect it. Does not mean I don't respect it. I think those guys are incredible at what they do, but it's just not for me. It's not something that I can sit through a 2-hour show and be like, this is something I really, really want to watch.
Yeah.
Nothing against it, but that's just not my.
There's a place, right? Yeah. There's a place for everyone,
Yeah.
And that's perfectly fine. You shouldn't be chastised for it, or you shouldn't, obviously be attacked, but someone's going to see this and they're going to take it as bait and they're going to run with this one thing. But talking more about just like, we'll move on from this, but did you have like any background in marketing or social media, because you do it so well?
No. So I didn't, I mean, I played basketball, and playing basketball in college, I went to the University of Vermont. It was always very stringent about your social media. It was like, do not put anything on social media. So guys tiptoed around it. I would still have fun with it, right? I didn't have a big following or anything like that. But, in Vermont, there's not much going on besides basketball and hockey. So, we had our fans. We were like little niche celebrities in the town of Burlington, Vermont. So, I would tweet. I'd have fun, and I'd have a couple of the fans would follow me, and, we'd interact. So I do stuff like that. And then when I started wrestling, it's really hard to really find your voice or your character. I remember when I first started in 2019, I was at a convention, and I was with my trainer, James Ellsworth, and I was sitting next to, yeah, I know. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny? Like total two opposite people.
Yes.
But we're both goofy as shit. But our table was next to Orange Cassidy. So I just wanted to be a sponge and try to get because I was only at this point like 2 or 3 months into training. So I went up to Orange Cassidy and I just asked, like, how'd you come up with this character? Because I've seen him before. I wasn't super familiar with him, but like this was when he was just kind of like really blowing up, like tail end of 2019.
Yeah.
And he just said, dude, he's like, this has always kind of been me. Like this is just kind of me turned up to 11. And he's like, how long you been training? Like, I only like 3 months. He's like, oh, dude. He's like, give it time. He's like, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. He's like, you just give it time. He's like, don't rush into anything. He's like, work some shows, kind of be yourself, see what works, see what doesn't. He's like, don't rush into it. Like, don't try to think you have to have your character figured out right now. I'm like, all right.
Rise different times, not everyone comes into the scene and it's just, they are these stars. It takes time.
No, it takes you got to see what works. You got to see, you got to go in front of a crowd and be like, what do I do that works? Okay, I do. All right, I'm going to do this. So this other guy already does it. He does it better than me. Like and it doesn't look as good. Like there's a lot of times you can go back and watch matches doing certain things where I'm like, all right, let's do this. You know what? It doesn't look as good, or it doesn't get as many reactions as this does. So let me do this instead. It's a lot of trial and error. And that's why I say a lot of guys that you gotta, after like about 6-7 months of training, you gotta get out there. You gotta, and I compare professional wrestling to comedy. So stand-up comedy. And if you listen to any stand-up comic, they'll always say, oh, I ate shit for 5 years. Like I was playing in front of 10 people, 15 people, 20 people, 5-minute sets, no reactions. Like people just not laughing because they don't know that person's funny yet. They don't know who it is. Like if you don't know your mannerisms, a lot of big time comics, you know their mannerisms, you know what they say, and so you're ready for that, and you're almost prepared. You're gonna laugh, right? You know they're funny. If you go see a Dave Chappelle, if you go see a Bill Burr, you're like, I know they're funny, so I want to laugh at them. But if you see a random comic, you don't know. Same thing with wrestling, right? If you go see Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, you're like, they're going to do something amazing, and they do. You go see a guy you don't know, you're like, am I supposed to like this guy? Or am I not? So same thing with comedy. So that's what I say to guys all the time. You got to get out there and you got to work matches. You can't just work the training school matches or the, in front of no fans or just in front of your other trainees. You got to get out there and work in front of these crowds. Like, so I got out there and I was working, when I first started, the pandemic hit not far after, but fortunately states like Tennessee didn't give a shit. And so I was able to go to Tennessee and wrestle a ton there. And you work in front of that crowd. Then I, working in Maryland, working in New Jersey, working in front of different crowds. What works, what doesn't, what can I focus on? Different parts of the country, they like certain things better than other things. So it was a gift that I was able to do that, and being able to kind of ride up and down the road with Ellsworth, who's a wealth of knowledge, and he's a guy who got over. Not being big, not being attractive, not like having the aesthetic people look for. He says this too, so I'm not gonna. I'll tell him to his face. But he knows. He had no business getting over or being in WWE ever. But you know what he has? He has the intangibles. He has the intangibles of knowing how to cut a promo. He's when he works in the ring, when he works, not many people have seen it. The guy's a great wrestler. But he knows his character. He knows his character isn't supposed to be a great wrestler, but he can do it. But he knows his psychology is incredible. He really has a good sense. So learning from him and having a lot of time, driving to different shows, him making me drive. Of course, I had to drive, but I got to have some respect for these guys.
Of course,
not too much. But he was able to just kind of tell me like, hey, you did this in your match, but like maybe you should have done this, or this is why this happened. Or if, hey, did you watch Raw? Or did you watch AEW last night? This is what happened. This is kind of what they were trying to do, and just kind of getting a better idea of the business. He was trained by Axel Rotten, who a lot of people will say is one of the best minds in wrestling and kind of one of the bigger what ifs in wrestling. And I did a WWE 2K commercial. It should be coming out soon. I don't know why it isn't out yet, but the 2K25 commercial you'll see me in the background of. And Paul Heyman was in it. So all day we were kind of on set with Paul Heyman, and really nice guy. I went up to him and I just said, Paul, I was trained by James Ellsworth, as you know, it was trained by Axel Rotten, and his eyes got big. He goes, oh, really? And he's kind of like, yeah. I'm like, I've heard a lot of stories. He goes, oh, there's plenty of those. There's plenty of stories about Axel. And he popped real big. Like, one day you're going to have to tell me. He goes, I sure will. So that was cool. So he's like by the guys that know Axel, he had a bad rep, but like guys that know him know he's one of the smartest guys in wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched him in the WWE. Like you said, one of the biggest what ifs. So yeah, I mean that's that lineage. It's like jujitsu. I trained jujitsu, and depending on who you got your black belt from and who got their black belt from, there's definitely there's levels. So I completely get it.
Now, I want to ask you before you ask this next question. We might have disagreed on something on the internet. Would you have fought Travis Scott backstage if he slapped you in the face in a wrestling ring? If you're in Cody's position, now top guy at a company, I'm not talking about an indie show or anything like that. Top guy at a company, biggest company in the world for wrestling, and a celebrity hit you, what would you have done?
So if I'm in the position if I was Cody Rhodes in the position that he's in, obviously, I guess the way I think that WrestleMania will go versus Cena, if Cena does win, he won't win clean, and there will be an aspect of interference, and Travis Scott will definitely be in that sequence. Then I'd make sure to hold on to my receipt until then.
The receipts are fine. The receipt, anybody that wants to give him a receipt, I love what Braun Breaker did to I Show Speed.
Yes.
Because you got to lay it in with celebrities. You got to show them like, hey, this isn't ballet, right? But it was what I had and so again, receipts. If he hits them hard, do it. Go ahead, show him that this is how it's done.
Yep.
I believe in that. But everyone that was like, I would have got up and fought him in the back or this, that, and I'm like, oh, come on. Like, come on. Like, if you're in his position, millions of dollars on the line, a big partnership. The guy's a megastar, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You're going to go in the back and beat him up because he gave you a black eye? Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, if I was a random wrestler and I didn't really care about my career,
that's different. That's different.
Maybe, but if I'm Cody Rhodes, who is the biggest baby face right now of the company, generating millions of dollars for the company and is looked at as this baby face.
Oh, and a giant, one of the biggest storylines in the history of wrestling revolving
around
two of them in the past 2 years revolving around him. Yeah, exactly. he ain't dumb enough to do something like that. Yeah, no. Cody gets it. What was I going to say about that situation? Yeah, whatever. We can get back to your question.
There's also a lot of faceless profile pics that are saying that they beat the shit out of.
Yeah, they would never do anything. Never do anything. They never fought in their life. They never done anything physical in their life.
Exactly.
They're the ones telling me that. Oh no, I would have kicked his ass. Yeah, dude. Have you ever seen some of these rappers' bodyguards too?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, come on. These guys. Those are the guys that
massive.
Or they're killers. They're killers. Or like, have you ever seen the videos of Messi's? Lionel Messi's bodyguard. Oh, dude, you gotta look this guy up. I don't know. I don't want to disrespect. I don't know what his nationality is. I don't know if he was like Israeli special forces or something. But the guy he's not massive. But like, you just look at him like, I ain't messing with that dude. I ain't messing with
you don't want to fuck around and find out.
No.
I guess my question is, right, just talking about WWE. First of all, wait, let's get into this because we did say we are going to talk about it. John Cena turning heel.
Okay.
One, your wife's reaction was hilarious. So big ups to her.
Yeah.
So what was your reaction? And then a follow-up question to that is, whose heel turn was bigger in your opinion, Hogan or Cena's?
Oh, well, we'll start with that. The first, Hogan. It was seismic. It was just it changed a lot. Like it changed WWE and WCW. I think, and I hate to like piggyback off somebody, but Ariel Helwani actually said this best yesterday about just it was game changing. Like it really was. It was I'll say industry changing. Cena doing it, I wouldn't call it because I don't think AEW is going to pivot off of this. Like they don't need to pivot off of this exactly. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I think that I think they just got to do their own thing and keep doing what they're trying to do. Like instead of like trying to hot shot anything because of this. This is what it is, right? Like you're not going to get bigger than this. It's one of the biggest it's number 2, 100% number 2 biggest heel turn ever. Hogan's number 1. What I thought when it happened, this sucks being this guy. It sucks. I kind of had a feeling. I was like, I think this was going. I was like, because John Cena, if you really pay attention to him, not just as a wrestler, as a performer, but as a person, he is not afraid to do different things. So like, you see him in goofy movies, like Peacemaker. You see him as Peacemaker. It's a goofy character. It's great. I love the show, but it's a goofy character. You see him in Ricky Stenicki. He's playing a goofy character. And then you look at guys like The Rock, who play a little bit more like action hero, stoic, like, crack jokes, but like, I'm all about business. I'm badass, right? I kind of, even though this is John Cena's final run, he's not someone to be like, no, I need to go out with flowers and everybody kissing my feet, and I need to be the one. Like every town I go, I want, the Derek Jeter retirement. Every stadium you go to, it's like, yeah, exactly. Rest in peace. But that's that. I never saw Cena being that guy. Like I think he wants to do something. I see him being more creative. And just kind of being like, like, let's try this. Like, I don't like at the end of the day, right? Like this isn't like, no one's going to hate John Cena forever after this year because he turned heel. And I think he turns back. I do. I think by the end of the year, I think he's going to turn back. And I think it might end up being a match with The Rock or something, or like the third match, right?
It has to. But I think that has to happen.
Something. Yeah. So I kind of had that feeling. I'm like, I wouldn't be someone that was like, I knew it. But I'm like, I think something's going to happen here because it did then. And I think they needed it. I think it kind of sparked WrestleMania now. And now it's like, holy now we're back at levels of last year where it's like, what the hell's going to happen?
Yep.
Right guy, right time.
I agree.
It's really, really what needed to happen. And for years, everybody's saying like, we need him to turn heel. And they waited till now, and it couldn't be more perfect. And it's like patience is a virtue, man. Like, it's just like, because everybody wants hot shot stuff. Like do it now. And it's like, I just wait. Same thing with Cody winning the title. Same thing.
Right.
Like, just exactly. Give it a year. Let's build it up more.
The reason why, so when Hogan turned heel, I think I was about 4 years old.
Yeah. I think I was 6. Yeah. 6.
Right. So I didn't really understand the importance as to why he turned heel or how much it changed the industry, let alone, like you said, WWE or WWF at the time, WCW. I didn't really understand, but I know how much this one understood because now, I'm a lot older. I'm able, I followed John Cena's career as a kid. To me, he's the greatest entertainer of all time, passing Hogan, to be honest. So for me, that was big because I'm just like, oh, I've seen this guy heel for over 20 years. And now I've seen him as a face for over 20 years. And now he's a heel. And I'm like, oh shit. Like this is crazy.
Oh yeah, for us. Yeah, for our generation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like for us, we appreciate the Cena turn a little bit more than Hogan because we were too young. Right. But like looking back and saying like, it was Hogan and because it was just a different time. And he was obviously, he was wrestling for so many years to so many people. And when, kayfabe for somewhat was still alive and people kind of believed him as the big hero and kids believed him. But I think for us, obviously we're just like, we grew up with John Cena our whole lives, 20 years of it, right? Yeah. Our whole wrestling fandom has been, John Cena has been at the pinnacle of our wrestling fandom.
Yeah.
To see somebody like that who's always been the hustle, loyalty, respect guy, and now he's the totally antithesis of that. It's wild, but it's great because now man, I'm fired up. Like, I mean, you know, like I'm sure you get it too. You go through ebbs and flows at wrestling where you're like, I don't care to watch this week. Like, I don't know, you know, it's just like, and I do it too. And I'm a wrestler, you know, and I'm like, something's just it's not peaking for me. But now next time they say John Cena, it's appointment television. You know, next time I'm sure they'll announce it before he shows up to wherever he shows up.
Yeah.
That's gonna, you know, now it's gonna draw numbers. Look at everybody that picked it up too. ESPN now is picking this up. Like, they never picked. We were growing up, they never picked up wrestling.
The big pop culture moment.
They didn't give a shit about it. And people can make fun of all they want. I did it first. I'm like, why is Travis Scott in the ring?
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
I still don't get it.
I'm like, okay.
From a business standpoint, I guess I kind of do, because it like adds that extra layer of like pop culture to it.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, God, this is so odd. Why is he standing with him? Like, what's this have to do with
I mean, it's one of those things that, like, I guess what's understood doesn't have to be explained.
Exactly.
So
that's a perfect way to describe it.
We just have to just enjoy the ride. Because I was underwhelmed, honestly. I was underwhelmed with this whole WrestleMania build. So now back. You know what I mean? This definitely enticed me. We'll wrap up, but my question is, have there been any conversations? Because now we have the WWE ID program, you know, we have NXT. Has there been any inkling of a conversation within the WWE that's saying, hey, you know, we've seen your work, you know, we wanna, you know, we wanna have these discussions? Have there been any at all?
Yeah, there has. Yeah, there has been some discussions. And I can't get too much into it, but there's definitely been some. There's been interest. Nothing obviously set in stone. But I'll say this: the videos is what got me on their radar. So everyone that says like you're dumb for making these, like these aren't are you a content creator or a wrestler? It's like, buddy, I had a WWE tryout in 2021. They didn't want me, and I wasn't ready. I'll be the first to say it. I wasn't ready for it, but you know, now I'm making these videos. Now it's like I'm getting on more radars. Now I'm having all these guys, gals in WWE, AEW, TNA. They all follow me. I have a lot of them hit me up who are like, yo, what you're doing is awesome. Like, we think this is so great. You know, you're popping all the boys. Like, we're having it. Like, we love watching your videos. Like, that type of shit I get on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And so and that's why I really tell people, like, you gotta find I thought for the longest time, hey, I'm 7 feet tall. I'm in good shape. You know, I'm gonna get signed. And people told me that. And when I first started, it's like, you'll be signed in 6 months. You'll be signed in a year. You'll be signed in 2 years. This is the year. 2021, you'll get signed. 2022, you'll get signed. 2023, I'm telling you, this is the year you're gonna get signed. And I appreciate that because it's good sentiment. And everybody, you know, because that means people believe in me. But it didn't happen because I was resting on my laurels, and I'm like, whatever, I'm 7 foot. They're going to like me eventually. Like, you know, and it wasn't happening. And that's why I was like, you know what, maybe I just don't have it. And that's when the video started. And now everyone, you know, it doesn't, like, I show up places and they're like, oh, wow, you're this tall? I'm like, yeah. They don't, I guess you can't tell in like a tiny box, but yeah. Oh, yeah. They're like, holy shit, I didn't know you're tall and you have a personality. And I'm like, man, what the hell? Like, a tall guy's supposed to be just like the big dumb idiots, like just walk around like we don't know anything, or we can't speak and we can't have like actual conversations. But yeah, no, the videos have really helped me get on a lot of different radars. People, you know, reach out to me a lot more now for bookings. A lot of promoters love the videos. So it's been good. It's been good. And here's the thing I'll always say, Rome, is that, you know, I have been offered by one specific company, and I said no. It wasn't the right timing. The contract length wasn't correct. There's nothing against this company. I'll probably eventually say it, but as of now, I won't mention the name. Yeah. We could talk offline. But you know, it's and I think there's a great company. I think the world of them. But it wasn't the right time, and the contract length wasn't right.
Yeah.
You know, if it ends up becoming where like nothing happens, let's say in 3, 4, 5 years, or it just doesn't, I don't get there. It's okay. It's okay. I'm having a blast. I'm having a lot of fun. I love talking to people, wrestling fans on the internet. I like making these videos. I like making content. Probably soon I'm going to start dipping my toe into acting because it's something I've always been very passionate about. I just got to find an agent. Shit's tough. So I want to get into that. I did a movie last year, which I really, really enjoyed doing. I got to play Big Trouble Ben Bishop in the movie because it has a wrestling component to the movie. Okay. It was a rom-com. But my character, I kind of, tweaked it a bit where I was more of like a Biff. Like from back to it was like Biff and Shooter McGavin. Like if you thought it like mixed together. So it's called Gentle Giants, and it should be out this year. Small independent movie, but it was a lot of fun. I got a lot of really great feedback from people that have been in acting, entertainment. They're like, you have like a knack for this. Like it's just
you do.
It's something that we really thank you. And it's something that we could see you doing more of. And I've done a couple more things with that group called Defiant Lens is the production company here in Atlanta. Great group of people. I love people being creative and just trying to scratch that creative itch that they have and really go after creative pursuits. I have a lot of I just really enjoy that. I enjoy when people are like that, and it's like, and even you doing a podcast, same thing. Like, it's something that you're doing because you enjoy doing it and you want an outlet and you want something to talk about. And instead of just saying, oh, I got a 9 to 5 every day. And, at 5 o'clock, I'm just going to go, sit and watch TV or, I'll go to the gym, and like every day becomes monotonous, right? Like it becomes like a routine. I love people that are really going out and chasing something, and the chase is tough. The chase is tough. The chase is not easy. And you're going to get all those. And I tell people who start wrestling, what's the hardest thing? I'm like, the hardest thing is the chase, but it's the best thing. And you go, and like, cause at first everyone supports you. Everyone supports you. Once you start to go, once you start to get, everyone's like, oh, go for it. Everyone wants to, clip, like, they want to hang on to you. They want to make sure it's like, oh, you're not getting away from me. Oh, I'm with you. And then it starts to plateau, because then when they see like, you haven't really made it yet. Let's see. Oh, then you do something cool. All of a sudden, hey, everyone's coming back. Everyone's coming back. Then time goes by. You're back to plateau. And then the hate comes. And that's when I tell people, you got to understand it's coming. It's gonna, once you start doing something that people like, especially on the internet, they want to bring you back. They want to bring you back to an equilibrium, because they're like, oh, you're doing something good. Something's got to be wrong with you. Something's got to be wrong with you. We got to find it.
If you don't have haters, you're not doing it right.
That's it. And that's what I tell everybody. And it's a tough, any type of entertainment. It's a tough business. It's not an easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Everyone would do it, because it's fun, and you get to do cool things. You have the opportunity to be on TV, this, that, and the other. But it's not. It's subjective. It's hard. And you just got to stay the course. The best talent to have. It's not being good in front of a camera. It's not being good in the ring. It's not being any of that stuff. The best talent to have, I tell everybody, is the ability to be available. And if you're available and you're still there and you're persistent, like and Randy Savage said, the cream rises to the top. You'll eventually get if you just continue to work and you have the dedication, you have the talent, and it'll eventually get there. You just got to understand it. So timing is different for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, yeah, man. Look, I appreciated this conversation. Thank you,
dude.
Thank you for taking the time. Let everyone know where they can find you. Let everyone know, what's in store, what's next for Big
Absolutely. So I've consolidated all of my handles on social media. So I'm the most active on Instagram and Twitter, or X, at Big Trouble BB. I do have a TikTok. Trying to figure out that algorithm has been tough. Things do not pop off as much on that one.
It's a different beast.
It's different. So I'm on there as well. I kind of post. I'm on Facebook, Ben Bishop on Facebook, and then I also have a YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow a little bit more. Post a lot more matches on there. I post some of my reels and stuff, but a lot more I use that for matches, match clips, that type of shit. So you can find me anywhere. I tell everybody, hey, you can interact with me. Like I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you. And if you don't like me and you have an opinion, that's fine. We can talk. We can talk. I don't mind. As long as you're respectful, I don't mind. So I'm just a wrestler. I've always said, like, I love interacting with people. Some wrestlers don't like doing that. They think it's below them. I don't. I think I'm a fan too. So if you want to talk, let's talk. And when places to find me coming up this weekend, I don't know when this is going out exactly, but this weekend
we'll get it out soon. We'll get it out
okay.
as fast enough so we can push.
All right, no worries, no worries if not. But if you catch me in Mississippi this weekend, folks, if you're in Mississippi, it's good to see you. And I'll be in. I gotta look up the town, but it's for EPW Wrestling in Mississippi. Okay. I'm excited for that card. Myself, Thomas Latimer, Camille, as well as Scott Steiner's on that card, and Ellsworth's on that card. So then next weekend, March 15th, I will be in Nashville for CCW, going up against Kobe Carter. I've seen a lot of his stuff. I've followed him. He's a hell of a wrestler. Going to be a fun show. CCW is a great show. And then, of course, biggest match of my career so far against Nick Nemeth, March 21st. So that is one that a lot of people ask me, who would you want to wrestle? Like if you had to pick one person from history or now, my first is always Brett. And it's not because I'm a huge Brett fan. It's because I love the matches he had with Kevin Nash. So I just think Brett is one of the best at making people look at the best of their ability. And always second was always Dolph Ziggler, now Nick Nemeth. So it's definitely like obviously one of those can't happen. So I got the second. so I'm very
happen. And I think that you'll land somewhere soon, hopefully
thank you, dude.
Than later. But yeah, man, thank you for taking the time. And I hope to see good things from you.
You got it. Thank you, dude. This was awesome. I appreciate you having me on.
A lot of fun as well. All right, guys, but we are out. That's Big Trouble Ben Bishop. I'm Rome, and that's it.